Hey everybody, welcome to Icewater Yoga. My name is Joe Pace. Today's class is going to be a flow class. We're going to do some just general movement in the body, and we're going to work towards block work with arm balances. So if you've never done hand balances or arm balances on blocks, it's a really fun thing to do. There's a lot of variations you can take that aren't possible with just hands on the floor. And it also brings a lot of strength into our forearms. So we start to build a lot of grip strength. And yeah, the blocks are really helpful. So if you don't have blocks, honestly, you're going to kind of not be able to do a lot of the stuff that we do. You can try to do it on the floor, but it would be best if you did have two blocks, or at very least anything that you can put at the sides of your body or underneath you that you can grab and feel really sturdy on top of. So I usually say a stack of books, but a stack of books probably isn't a great idea here. Use some ingenuity, figure something out. The blocks are definitely best. Ideally cork blocks. So blocks that aren't going to give under the weight of your body weight. Okay. So before we get to the blocks, let's build some general heat. My expectation is that you do have a basic yoga practice and some arm balancing that you're starting to play with. So we'll move through some sun salutations and some movement so that we do get warm, but I'm not going to really explain everything. I want to just make sure that we get a nice base of heat underneath us. So we'll actually start in downward facing dog here to get things started. Hands shoulders width, and we're gripping the mat with our fingertips reaching through both shoulders. You can pedal both knees out, one heel towards the mat, the other reaching towards the mat, just getting into your breath more than anything. So once you've found a little bit of opening with moving heel to mat, other heel to mat, find a place with knees bent or not to make this pose static, other than the breathing. So the only part of this pose that's moving is the breath. I have a tendency to rock side to side in downward facing dog, and here by being static in both sides, the pose becomes less dynamic and more of a hold and more of a physically heat building pose for me. Last breath here. On an inhale, please bend your knees deeply, look forward. Exhale, step the feet to the front of your space. Inhaling for your half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the knees bent and just hang over the legs. Let the head hang heavy. Maybe grab opposite elbow with opposite hand and just let the body gently hang. Straightening the knees to whatever degree feels appropriate for you right now. And then slowly and easily roll all the way up to standing, arms come overhead. Exhale, gently release arms to your sides. Just take a moment, not rushing into or out of anything here. From here on an inhale, arms rise. Exhale, chest leading forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, right foot steps back, right knee to the mat. Inhale up, low lunge. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot forward. We'll take the other side, left leg back, left knee down. Inhale up, low lunge. Exhale, plant the hands, step the left foot forward. We'll take the other side again, right foot back, right knee down. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands down, stepping right foot forward. Left leg back this time, left knee down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, plant the hands, step left foot forward. And last time, we step the right foot back, keep the right knee lifted, big bend in the right knee, inhale for high lunge. From here, we take the hands to the hips and lower down into the front knee. All the way to the point of, we can reach all the way down to a parallel front leg with the mat. So this thigh parallel to the mat is as low as we're going to get. Press it back up, and we'll lower down 2 more times. Inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Shift the arms forward, or arms back, palms face down. Step the right foot to meet the left. Inhale for chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. From here, plant hands. Step the left foot back this time. Big bend in the left knee. Inhale, rise. Arms overhead. Exhale, hands at hips, keeping the big bend in the back knee, hip points lifting. Inhale, we lower all the way to parallel if that feels accessible. And we inhale back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up, reversing the breathing pattern. Exhale. Inhale. We'll take one more here. Lower and back. From here, arms come wide, palms face down. Step the left foot to meet the right. Inhale, arms rise for chair. Exhale, forward fold, straighten the knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands down, take the feet wide, sit back towards the heels. So we have low squat, Lolasana. Hands to heart center, toes pointing out away from you, lifting through the chest. All right, so from here, we're gonna take our first crow pose as a warm-up. Option to jump back to chaturanga. So we take the hands, shoulders width, elbows draw in towards one another. We wanna make sure the elbows continually draw in and stay in line with the wrists. We never want the elbows to bow out. Always hug them in towards the midline so that they're directly underneath your shoulders, okay? Rock the weight forward, feel the chests come forward, head lifting, maybe the feet lift. It's really a counterbalancing maneuver. The chest draws forward, making the feet light. For 3. Grip the mat with your fingertips. 2. From here, chest comes forward as you jump back to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. First up dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. From here, on an inhale, rock the weight forward to plank. Exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale here, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press it back up through plank. Exhale here. Inhale, tuck the toes over for upward facing dog. Exhale, back to plank. One inhale here. Exhale, elbows over wrists, lower all the way to the mat. Inhale, up dog, cobra. Exhale, lower. Press it through plank. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, tuck the toes over. Upward facing dog. Hold here. Engage quads, lift kneecaps. Press the hands down into the mat, extending ears away from shoulders. For 3, 2, 1. Press it back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And again, find that static pose. Create the pose, make it feel good. Get in a place where it feels like a positive place to be. And then lock in. Stay deep in your breath. Motionless everywhere else. Okay. From here, please bend the knees deeply, look forward. Exhale, step both feet forward. Inhale, half lifts. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, rise to chair. Arms can be overhead, hands always an option to be at the hips. Taking it out of the shoulders if you'd like. We're gonna be doing some arm balancing here. From here, hands to hips, or hands out in front to counterbalance as you sit down all the way to the mat. Okay, little boat pose. So feet lift. Always want to feel like our chest is up and lifted, never crunching forward, hunching forward. Lift, spread the collarbones wide, drop the shoulder blades down the back, hands to the back of the knees, maybe lift the feet. Staying lifted in the chest, far more engagement in the core than if we're like this. Stay lifted. Arms can be at the sides of the legs. Stay lifting in the chest. From here, lower to half boat. Breathe. So this is our inhale. Back where we came from. Exhale. Keep the chest lifting. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, bring the feet back to the mat. Here we take our block. So our first block-related arm balance. I don't think that's a technical term for these, block-related. So the easiest option here is to take the blocks to their middle setting. For these, let's not take the blocks to their high setting because it's really not a really strong foundation. For us, we want to make sure the foundation is solid. So the highest variation we're going to take is this middle setting. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, come to the low setting for today. All right, we're going to place the blocks right against our thigh. So almost as if the center of the block was right in the center of our femur bone, this bone right here. Okay, pressing the hands firmly into the block. You want to reach your fingertips so they're past the edge, okay? So reach fingertips past the edge. I take my pinky to the outside and my thumb to the outside as well. So find a grip that allows you to have all of your fingertips on the outside corner of the block. That's what we really want to create here. This is the differentiation between using blocks and using the floor. We want this grip of our fingertips. From here, gripping the block with your fingers, lift your hips from the mat by pressing into the hands. So press up, grip the blocks. Don't worry so much about lifting the heels. Feel your core engaged. Keep ears away from shoulders. Think about keeping the chest lifting. Continue to grip the blocks for 3, 2, 1. Release down. Take a moment. Inhale. Exhale, back up. Pressing into the blocks, engage the core. Keep the chest lifting. Maybe draw the hips back. Toes draw towards your head for 3, 2, 1. Gently sit down. Take a break. So now we're going to practice trying to lift the feet from the mat. It may feel impossible. That's okay. Find the placement of your body, just like we did in crow pose. Find the placement of your body that allows your feet to get light. I'll show you what works for me. So from here, deep inhale, gripping the blocks with your fingertips. Exhale, press it up. For me, I like to draw my hips back and then press through both arms. Then my hips can come underneath my shoulders. Point the toes for 3, 2, 1. Heels back down. Sit bones come back to the mat. Shake it out. This is hard work. We do it because it's really good for us. Okay? It's also kind of fun. I noticed that I stopped breathing in that standing L sit. I want to make sure that I keep my breath going. I also want to use it as an opportunity to remind you to keep your breath going. All right. Gripping the blocks, set up your fingertips to grip and grab from here. Any variation that we've done already, press it up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently sit it back down. Whew. You're lucky I'm doing them with you because my counts get a little bit shorter sometimes. All right. This variation, I'm not going to count it. I'm just going to say 5 and 1, the beginning and the end, so I can breathe with you. Okay? Any variation, 5 seconds. Here we go. Grip the block with your fingertips. Press it up. 5. Gently release. 1. All right. Blocks off to the side. From here, cross the legs in front of you. Press it back. Downward facing dog. So probably feeling a lot more warmed up than we were a moment ago. All right, but we want to take a little bit of this action that we have, this intensity we have in the arms. Let's balance it out. Let's get a little bit in the legs so we feel like we're not so cooked in the arms for our next arm balance. All right, from here, inhale, bend your knees deeply. Exhale, step lightly to the front of your space. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Draw the big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Inhale for chair. Tailbone comes straight down so we create length and space in the low back. Arms rising from both sides. And this doesn't have to be your lowest chair, just something that brings some of the physicality of the pose or the physicality of our practice into our legs. Feeling as if, with the weight in the heels, Feeling as if you can suck all of the strength in the legs up through your pelvis, engaging your mula bandha, your root lock, your pelvic floor. So that pelvic floor, diamond shape, the base of your pelvis, okay? Feel that engage and tighten. The bottom aspect of your pelvis, all right? That part of the body that's pointing straight to the ground when we're standing up, that is sucking up and in right now. So feel the pose get light for 3, 2, keep the mula bandha if you can, step the right foot back, lift the arms up overhead, keep the pelvic floor engaged. Not the deepest variation, not the deepest high lunge we've ever taken. Hands at hips so we can keep the pressure out of the shoulders. From here, we inhale, lower right leg. Exhale, gently straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Apply mula bandha, suck it up. Step right foot forward. Feel the pelvic floor engaged. This time stepping the left foot back, keeping root lock locked in. Hands to hips. Inhale, lower. Exhale, straight. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Mula bandha. Left foot steps forward. Hold it in. Arms can rise overhead this time. Exhale. Take the feet wide. Sit it down for your Lolasana. Okay. Crow with blocks. Our next block-related arm balance. All right, so we have the blocks, shoulders width, and it's the same grip we had with our fingers before. We want to make sure that the fingers are hanging off the edge so we can grab the block. You'll feel a major difference in your crow pose just by this action, okay? So, if you don't even have crow pose, or if you don't have crow pose, that's no issue. You can continue to grab the blocks, keep the knees on the elbows, and just start to rock your weight forward. Feel the grip of the fingers, feel the pose start to get more engaging as you grip the block. If you have crow and you feel like you're pretty steady in it, let's try to come up onto the blocks in our crow. Okay, so grab the blocks firmly with the fingertips, right? We want to keep the elbows over the wrists. That's our goal, that's our center point. Rocking the chest forward, lift onto the toes, maybe one foot first, then the other. Grip the blocks firmly. We're going to be here for 5, 4. Continue to grip. 3, 2, 1. One foot comes down, then the other. I'm going to take this variation a few more times. Shake out the wrists. Take a moment. In between sets, you can take Lolasana, so you have hands at heart center, pressing elbows wide. Get a nice hip opener here. All right, let's take number 2. Knees draw up the triceps, maybe all the way up into the armpits. Lift up, maybe one foot, maybe the other. Grip the blocks with your fingertips, maybe straighten elbows for crane. Gripping the mat, gripping the blocks with your hands for 3, 2, gently come down. All right. So crane requires a lot of wrist flexibility. So just keep that in mind when you're straightening the elbows. It takes all of that bending into the wrists. So that angle that we need all comes here. So always counterbalance, stretch out the wrists. Okay, coming back in. Crow pose. And if you don't have blocks, just take your regular crow, gripping the mat with your fingertips. That's our focus for today. So forearm and grip strength. From here, knees up the triceps, crow or crane, whatever you want to work. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently come down. Come onto the knees if you'd like. Sit on the heels, toes tucked under. Little toes pose, stretch out the toes. Okay, we have 2 more variations of crow here on the blocks. All right. All right, let's come on into it. Taking these reps on purpose, we want to practice our arm balancing, especially within a little bit of fatigue. Keep the elbows hugging in line with your wrists. One heel lifts, the other lifts. Crow or crane, whatever you're working, whatever you're doing, gripping the blocks, keeping elbows over wrists. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set the feet down, shake it out. And I should have mentioned, for this crow variation, any setting on the blocks other than this high setting, we're good. This higher setting actually might be a little bit more challenging because we need to come further off the ground to come into the pose. So finding a variation that allows you to grip the blocks. I'm going to try this variation myself here. Blocks are shoulders width. All right. Gripping firmly as much as you can. Rock the weight up. Balance for 5. Gripping as much as you can. 4, 3, 2, 1. Place the feet back down onto the mat. Blocks to the side. Let's sit back on the heels. Get a nice toes pose. So all the toes tucked under. Get a nice toe stretch here. Great place to be. Just sitting for a while. Good place to prevent plantar fasciitis if you run a lot or wear sandals a lot. This is a really great place to stretch all of that stuff out. Maybe the most intense pose we've taken all day. All right. So we have one more arm balance that we're going to take on the blocks today, and that is Lolasana. So the L-sit and Lolasana, they're really like, in my opinion, they're like working arm balances. It's hard to really, it's not a sense of flying in these poses. It's a sense of kind of survival, honestly. So now that I've planted that idea in your mind, we're going to do a little bit of leg work to kind of take our focus out of the arms for a moment. And then we'll come back into our Lolasana. Just keep that in mind. We're working. This is all leading towards good stuff. It's building strength in the body that we can always use, and it's always a good thing. It's going to make all of our arm balances more easy as we go. All right. From here, uncurl the toes, tuck them under. Maybe press the tops of the toes into the mat. Get a counter stretch for the toes. Okay. From here, we're actually just going to come straight to standing, and we're going to come into horse pose. All right, so the goal in horse is the knees are pointing in the same direction as the toes. The toes and knees can spin out all the way towards facing directly out away from you, sideways. Never all the way back. That's just not great for your hips, and also just kind of unnecessary. Once you've drawn toes directly away from one another, knees pointing the same direction as the toes, you're in a great spot. We'll keep hands at heart center for today. All I want you to feel is just this pose sucking up through the midline. Okay, so that same Mula Bandha action that we had before, engage that pelvic floor. So the part of your pelvis that is pointing straight towards the ground right now, that should feel like you can knit it in, lock it in, almost as if you're holding in your pee, or it's that type of feeling, but not quite. It's more at the base of the hips, locking it all in. Hands can be at hips or at heart center if you'd like. Lowering the hips to any degree. Weight is in the heels, knees pointing in the same direction as the toes. Breathe here. Engage your core. Think about drawing your tailbone straight down as your hip points lift, your low ribs knit in towards your hip points. So these hip points here, lifting, low ribs knitting, core is engaged. Hands at heart center if you'd like, hands at hips if that feels a little bit better right now. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's make this a little bit more engaging. Stay here. We're gonna do a Bhastrika breath, which is just very quick inhales and exhales through the nose. And we're gonna align that with just very gentle 1 inch, not bounces, rising and lifting. So controlling it with the muscles. All right, so hands at heart center or hands at hips. From here, it's this breath aligned with some bouncing. So hopefully you're alone. You're not doing this in front of anybody. We're going to build some heat and energy here. So from here, we go. Full inhale, full exhale. Hands at heart center, inhale. Exhale, straighten the legs. Okay, some energy for you. Take the back foot towards the front of the space, and then we'll come down to our knees. Okay, last pose, last arm balance of the day. Lolasana, pendant pose, garland pose, whatever you want to call it. It's hard. So Lolasana is a really nice preparatory pose for crane. It's a really nice preparatory pose for transitions into handstand, pressing into handstand. So let's work it today in a way that's going to engage our forearms and also just challenge us in general, okay? Any option with the blocks as long as it's not on this high setting, okay? Blocks are shoulders width and a place where you can grip them. So place your hands in a place where you can grip them. And from here, the full pose, the legs come up towards the chest or the knees come up towards the chest and we balance with the knees in towards the chest, okay? That's the full pose. You can always take both feet to the mat. So you don't ever have to take both feet off the mat. You can lift one with one knee in towards your chest, replace it with the other. Either way, it's going to be challenging for the core, challenging for the upper body. We're going to take 5 sets, just like we did with everything else. So reconfiguring our breath in between and also feeling good. So round 1, grip the blocks with your fingertips. Whether you're taking the feet off the mat or not, let's come into the pose for 5. Press through the elbows. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the feet, sit it back down. What can you modify? What can you adjust? What can you improve? For me, I think I need to take the blocks a little wider so I can fit my legs between my arms. All right, so I felt like my arms were kind of squeezing into my legs. I want it just a hair away from that. So my legs are hovering in space, not pressing against my arms at all. Let's take number 2. Lifting the knees in towards the chest. Maybe it's 1 foot at a time. Maybe it's both for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release feet to the mat. Coming onto the shins, maybe toes pose. Sit back on the heels. Catch your breath. 3 more to go. Thinking less about how many more we have to do, but being right in this moment. So focusing on not even being in Lolasana or going into Lolasana, but being in toes pose. Catch your breath. And here we go. Hands to blocks. From here, find your pose. We're here for 5. 4, grip the blocks if you got them. 3, 2, 1, gently release. Sit back on the heels. Slow breathing through the nose. Be in the moment. Don't be anywhere else. You're in toes pose right now. We're all lucky to be practicing. Okay, hands to blocks. Step the feet in. 5-second hold for 5. 4, gripping the blocks. 3, 2, 1, gently release. Sit it back. Not even thinking about this being our last Lolasana of the day. Just being here with our breath. Last one. Hands to blocks. Find your pose, whether feet are on the mat or not, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release. Blocks off to the side. It probably feels good. Should feel like an accomplishment. All right. From here, we need to do some shoulder opening. We've done so much in them already. Okay. From here, very, very simply, take the right arm across the body and just get a nice shoulder stretch here. Gentle shoulder stretch. Breathing deep. can rotate out the right wrist, even the left wrist. Get a rotation going, make this efficient, a little bit about coordination. Switch sides. Left arm across, rolling open the wrists. Super strong deep breath. Very nice. From here, right arm overhead, right palm towards the upper back, left hand to right elbow. Another gentle stretch, probably one you're familiar with. Gently release and we switch sides. From here, interlace knuckles behind your back. Inhale, lift the chest, spread the collarbones, and just tuck the chin in towards the chest. So we're thinking about drawing knuckles towards the floor, not necessarily touching the floor. Lift the chest and maybe lift the hands back towards the back wall behind you. So not the action of trying to wrap the arms up and overhead. They most likely won't get there. Just getting a nice bicep stretch and then a front shoulder stretch, chest opener. Also a moderate back bend. Gently release that, switch the interlacing of the knuckles so the opposite thumb is on top. And then we take the same thing, knuckles straight down towards the mat, lift through the chest, spread the collarbones wide. And then from here, you lift the hands up away from the floor. Keeping the chin tucked in towards the chest. We're not worried about neck opening right now. Gently release that. From here, nice forearm stretch. So we'll take the palm out away from us, left hand to right fingertips, press the palm of the right hand away. Nice stretch for the right forearm, which we worked a lot today. Switch sides, please. Slowly release that. From here, left hand outside right leg. Take a block behind your back if you'd like. Just a gentle twist over to the right. Come back to center. Take the block with you. Gentle twist over to the left. Back to center. And you're good. Definitely not a complete class, but one where we explore some really nice arm balancing techniques. Feels really nice sometimes to get up onto the blocks, get the forearms working, get the wrists working and opening. So hope that challenged your arm balance practice at least a little bit. And I look forward to working with you again in other classes. Thank you for your time. Namaste.